Welcome everyone to today's webinar, the third in our series on material ingredient disclosure programs. We are really excited and honored to have with us today our special guests from the International Living Future Institute, Ren Decherny and Abby Droz from Mohawk Industries and Mohawk Group. We have a content-packed agenda today. For those of you who are new to Sustainable Minds, we can do a little bit of introduction about Sustainable Minds, but I'm going to kick things off with some June news right away. I'm going to take you through some of the research that we've done over the years here at Sustainable Minds, kind of understanding how the material ingredient disclosure programs have evolved through to today. And then we'll hear from Ren about what is happening there at ILFI with Declare and Living Product Challenge, how that program has really progressed into a very robust set of offerings. We'll hear from Abby talking about the commitment that Mohawk Industries and Mohawk Group has made to transparency and real performance improvement, and through the Declare and Living Product Challenge programs, how they are sharing the results of what they're doing to make higher performing products. And then we'll talk about how you can find not just Mohawk Group's products, but all manufacturers with Declare labels and Living Product Challenge certificates, how you'll be able to find them in the Transparency Catalog through our partnership with ILFI. Just so that you know, this is being recorded. You will get a link to the recording sent out to you in the next day or two. If you want a copy of the deck, you'll be able to request that. If you have questions, please put them into the questions panel. We'll take those during the session. If we don't get to them during the session, we will absolutely follow up and get you answers to your questions. And as you leave at the end, there's a couple questions if you have time and can leave some responses, that would be awesome too, and it will allow us to get in touch with you if you're hoping that we'll do that. All right, so kicking things off, welcome ladies. And we're excited about coming up next week. So this is the perfect timing. Actually, Ren and I chose this date for the webinar because it would be a run up to NeoCon. Going to be a great conference. We're both going to be there, and your first stop should definitely be at the Mohawk Group showroom on the third floor in the back. You can see we've given you a little snippet of the floor plan there. They're right there. It's a beautiful showroom, and lots of folks from Mohawk are actually on this call, and they'll be happy to meet with you if you're going to be there. Ren and I get to do this again at the Mindful Materials Impact Summit, and this is going to be a very cool event, Monday afternoon. Again, if you're going to be at NeoCon, it's free, 2 to 5 at Brookfield Properties. There's the link, and in the follow-up email that goes out after this webinar, I will include that link. If you'd like to register, there will be a happy hour that we are sponsoring, so I hope they buy good stuff. But it's going to be a very, again, content-rich event, looking at how the folks involved in the product transparency space can be moving together with an impact, to be able to make an impact as an industry, so we can all participate in ways that contribute. And also, you'll be able to see us, me and some of my colleagues, also at NeoCon in the BIM Smith booth. They're on the 7th floor in the back left corner. And if you're also going to be heading on to AIA, also in Chicago the following week, you'll be able to find us again with the BIM Smith folks in the software and technology area, as it shows there on the map. So lots of chances to meet face to face. that's pretty exciting, and I'm sure everybody who is making the effort and taking the risk to go is everybody looking forward to having a great and productive time. So with that, for those of you who are new to Sustainable Minds, I'm Terry Swack. I'm the CEO and founder. I started the company back in 2007 when I thought people would start to care about making greener products. It's kind of surprising to me that it's taken this many years for the market to evolve and for the world to, effectively wake up, but the world has woken up, and not because things are going well. You guys are all here because things really need to change. And so that's what we're here to talk about today, is the solutions that the three of our organizations offer, contributing to driving this change. So Sustainable Minds, we're a cloud software and solutions provider, and we are the only end-to-end product transparency solutions provider in the market today. We are an EPD program operator. We create product category rules and environmental product declarations. We deliver technical services, life cycle assessments, material ingredient disclosures, carbon accounting. And we have software tools in the cloud to help us do this work. But finally, all of that accounting and measuring is in service to helping manufacturers not only make better products, but to market those products in a meaningful way. So our perspective is that product transparency is really key to product marketing to build credibility, preference, and value for brands. So this is probably the most text-packed slide in the deck, but I always like to set up the presentations with this set of concepts. Product transparency has really evolved from an idea in 2012, 2013, when LEED version 4 was first drafted. And over the years, through the tireless work of the architecture and design and construction industry and manufacturers in this industry, it's really grown from just a concept to a specification, and now even a construction requirement. Product transparency is all about performance, and it's actually now part of the definition of high performance buildings, which the whole industry is really striving to become high performance built environment. But the manufacturers like Mohawk and the others who are investing in transparency, they understand that the primary intent for doing life cycle assessment and material ingredient assessment is to gain their own internal insights over the impacts that their products are creating in the natural environment, the built environment, and to human health, so they can actually use that information to drive change in the way they make products. It's entirely voluntary that they use that information in public-facing disclosures. And the ones that do are really the ones that we're focused on in the transparency catalog, because it's expensive, it's risky, it's time consuming, it's challenging for manufacturers to do this work, to measure, report, and really change their products. At the end of the day, the manufacturers who are doing this work and telling these stories are the ones who really understand what to do to make higher performing and improved products. And those are the ones whose stories we want to help tell, to build credibility for those brands, so that you as an industry reward those manufacturers for making those actually higher performing products. All right, so back in 2015, when product transparency was new, this is when we began our material ingredient disclosure research journey here at Sustainable Minds. You can see this is actually a screenshot from LEED 4.0 back in 2015, when here was the credit for material ingredients, and there were only three types of programs that were identified as eligible to contribute: a manufacturer's inventory, a health product declaration, and cradle to cradle certified. So we wondered, why are there so many different ways to disclose material ingredients? Because there's only an environmental product declaration used to disclose environmental performance. So why are there so many material ingredient disclosure programs? And why do different AECs ask for different types of disclosures? So what does that mean for a manufacturer? How many should they do? How many types? And if there are so many, are they different? Are they the same? Do they answer the same questions? What does a manufacturer learn from doing them? Do they help with design? What do they tell a customer? And we also wondered if it's a different kind of assessment and a report is required, why not provide all that information all in the same place along with all the other information people use to make purchase decisions about products? So we went and we did a pretty extensive evaluation of the different disclosures, again, at the time. This is a manufacturer's inventory. This was the HPD 1.0. Here's a declare label. And this is what Cradle to Cradle certificate looked like then. And our takeaway from the research was that their technical evaluations, they're pretty technical, kind of unclear what they meant, couldn't always easily determine what's in the product and why. Sometimes a manufacturer might disclose hazardous ingredients with no explanation. You know, they're not comparable, there's no marketing info. And we couldn't really understand how an architect, builder, or contractor could use one to make a purchase decision. And then, you know, really the big thing for the manufacturer is, what do you want to learn and do with the results? So we continued on, we did a really deep dive. We looked at the different organizations that were administering these programs. Did they have a technical standard? What kind of report did they produce? What type of list screen and evaluation method did they use? Then at the time, these were all in consideration for LEED. So Declare had its foot in the door. So did Level. Cradle to Cradle was rolling out the material health certificate. So it had a certificate that was comparable just for material ingredient disclosure, not for the full Cradle to Cradle certification. So the big overarching theme that we saw is that some are straight up disclosure programs and some are rating systems. Like Declare's a rating system, so is Cradle to Cradle. Gold, silver, bronze, red list free, declared. You'll see more from Ren. HPD is just a straight up disclosure. You're going to draw your own conclusions. But they all follow the same steps. They all start by the manufacturer creating a content inventory. They all get screened against a list of ingredients. They all create a report. Only one has an optimization step. That was Cradle to Cradle. And finally, verification is optional for all of them except Cradle to Cradle. So again, we continue to further break it down. All right, how are they really the same or different? And, you know, got pretty geeky about what each one did. But finally, you know, we were getting asked this question pretty frequently by manufacturers, like, how do I choose which one we should do, or should we do more? And so really it kind of breaks down along these lines. There's 4 kind of attributes of decision making. How transparent do you want to be? From a brand perspective, is there a brand of any of these eco labels or certifications that will enhance your own brand in the eyes of your customers? Third-party verification, is it important? How important is it? And then finally, price. And there's tons of variables here in terms of validity periods, whether consultants or accredited assessors are needed, whether you're going to purchase a benchmark, if you're going to pay for verification or if it's included, and then finally the number of products that you're going to create these disclosures for. So frankly, you know, those are still the attributes that manufacturers need to consider when they make decisions. And so what we did at the time because it was very difficult actually to answer those questions in a concise way. Again, because we also evaluated what questions does each of these things answer. You know, what's the product made of? Are there any hazardous ingredients? If yes, how bad are they? Are there any exposure concerns? Where do they come from and where do they go? That was only Declare. And then what's the company doing to improve human health impacts? So what we recognized was that, you know, while an environmental product declaration is a customer-facing report of an LCA, there was no corollary for material ingredient disclosures. So we created our material health overview that's designed to very quickly present the answers to all of those questions, independent of the type of disclosure, material ingredient disclosure that was used to evaluate the materials. So we created versions for all of the different types of disclosures. Many manufacturers in the transparency catalog have now created these material health overviews, which allow the manufacturers to share the results of the disclosure and then write about what they're actually doing to improve. What do the results mean? How did they get there? What are they doing to improve? And then the credit contributions that each of those disclosures contribute to. So we had this webinar series back in 2015 and invited representatives from each organization on at that time. And so we decided it's time to do it again. And Ren, you are wrapping up the third in the second series, and I'm going to turn things over to you. You guys have really come a long way. So let's hear about it.
Awesome. Thank you, Terry. I'm so excited to be here. I'm Ren Cherney with International Living Future Institute. I'm here to talk about Declare and Living Product Challenge. All right, I'm going to try out let's see if I can move the slides. Sweet. Okay. So our mission at Living Future is to catalyze the transformation toward communities that are socially just, culturally rich, and ecologically restorative. We do that in a lot of ways. We have a flagship program, our Living Building Challenge, and out of that came Declare and the Living Product Challenge. So Declare is the only label that combines material transparency and the red list, and the Living Product Challenge is the only framework that combines material transparency, life cycle disclosure, and handprints. So the big question in the room, that why you're all here, I'm sure, is why are we different than the others? Why would you pick one or the other? I can't answer that question for you, but I can answer why are we different? How are we different? Our labels are very customer friendly. They're easy to use. They're easy to read. They're fully transparent with no hidden hazards, and they include embodied carbon reporting. So I'm going to go over all of these. I do like to set us up for some success here and talk about why are we talking about this now? Why is this important? What is the market talking about? I know that we have a lot of manufacturers on the call right now, so this is my plea to you that the market here does care about this. Our industry, which includes making building products, accounts for 39% of annual carbon emissions. So our industry has a huge impact on our world, on our planet. We're also starting to make the connection between what's in our bodies and the chemicals that were around. And so there was a study done of little babies and what they are born with in their bloodstream, which sounds very dark. And that's because it kind of is. And they are born with a lot of stuff. It turns out that there's some mercury, heavy metals, plasticizers, pesticides, things that were banned in the 70s are still showing up in our kids. So that connection between the chemicals in our environment, the chemicals in our buildings are starting to affect not just our bodies, but we're passing those on to our children. It doesn't seem great. I'm also finding that in this industry and outside our industry, the money people are talking about this in a way that I have not seen before. I'm a designer by trade, and now I get really excited by Larry Fink's annual letter to CEOs in January that happens. And in 2020, he wrote that climate change has become a defining factor in companies' long-term prospects. So BlackRock represents about $7 trillion worth of assets. So Larry Fink is definitely seeing something if he's willing to say this to CEOs. In our industry specifically, that looks like 98% of interior designers saying that their companies are prioritizing environmentally friendly materials. which is a lot of us. In the United States, sort of at large, even since 2018, the Nielsen Group has noted that 90% of millennials are willing to pay more for products that are environmentally friendly, and 80% are willing to pay more for products with a social sustainability story. So these are people who are in firms now. They are becoming leaders in firms, they're writing specs, and those buying habits are translating into how they're buying things for their projects, right? That's why I bring this up. There's also been a tremendous amount of movement sort of generally in terms of collective action. Over 90 firms have signed the AIA Materials Pledge Letter. 200 companies have signed the Climate Pledge, and 10 states have signed on to the Paris Climate Agreement. So there's a lot of movement here. Your clients are going to start asking about this if they're not already, and they've made pledges, and now they need to like commit to them and do them. And so they're looking to architects and designers to help them uphold that. So we can help you meet this moment with our labels, which are, as I said, transparent, customer friendly, and include that embodied carbon. Since Declare launched in 2012, the growth has been pretty exponential, I like to say. It's really grown in the industry, is very recognized by designers all over. So you can see here our market adoption. What that looks like today is over 1,000 different labels, 200 different manufacturers, 35 spec sections, over 25 countries. So we're pretty freewheeling these days. So the Declare label looks like this. It's a nutrition label for products. It tells you at the top there, where a product is made, where does it come from, where does it go, what can you do with it at the end of its life, how long does it last. In the middle there, it will give you all the chemical ingredients with any toxic chemicals highlighted in red. And at the bottom, it will have the red list compliance. Are you just declaring this? Here's all the stuff in my product. That's fabulous. We love that. Red list approved means you've withheld some information. Maybe you have some proprietary ingredients that you've withheld 1% of that information. Or red list free, you have disclosed 100 parts per million of your product, and there are no toxic chemicals in it. So this is where you can find red list free products. If you're a designer and you've been asking about this, this is where you find them. So what the heck is this red list I keep mentioning? The red list is our list of the worst in class chemicals in our industry. And so we try to take all this complex information and distill it into something easy to use, which we call the red list. And it's really become an industry standard that we use to create market transformation. In my day, when I was beginning as a designer, all carpet backing was made out of PVC. And when you asked, do you have a PVC-free version? We were like told no. And now, because of the red list, not only do almost all carpet companies, including Mohawk, have a red list free backing, it's PVC free, which is fantastic. So it does create market transformation, which I have seen since I became a designer. So it includes chemicals that pollute the environment, that accumulate in our bodies. That study about the little kids, this is what we're talking about. And they also harm construction and factory workers as well as end users. So we evaluate them across the supply chain. The things that are included on them, some of the heavy hitters, PVC, BPA, plasticizers, VOCs, you think that new car smell, that's what VOCs are, formaldehyde, flame retardants. And so when you find a red list free product, it has none of these chemicals, which is fabulous. We also believe that, as more science becomes available, we should continue to update the red list. Part of market transformation is to push the market, right? And so we have just added all of PFAS, which are known as forever chemicals, to the red list. We've added that entire class because we've heard from scientists in the market that this is the next place to focus on. As I mentioned, our labels, both Declare and Living Product Challenge, are fully transparent with no hidden hazards. Every product is reported down to 100 parts per million with no exception. So I always like to talk about food. So if you look at the ingredients of a Twinkie at 10,000 parts per million, it looks pretty delicious. And when you get down to 100 parts per million, you maybe still want to eat it because it's delicious, but you at least know all the stuff that's in there. And so this allows designers to compare products apples to apples. So you can compare a tile to a carpet. You can compare a carpet across 2 different lines of carpet. Like you can, as a designer, you're seeing the same amount of information. One of the things that I loved as a designer was that it was designed for us. We are very visual creatures. This is a very sort of scary science land, and we did not learn climate science in design school. So it distills all this complex information and allows you to make a decision quickly. Is it red list free or is it not? And if you have a little bit more time, there's information there for you to dig a little deeper. My favorite, these are all quotes from designers that I've met over the last 2 or 3 years. And I promise Jane there at the bottom is a real interior designer who actually said to me, Declare is the greatest thing to ever exist. And it was because it's so easy to understand that this is a thing that is easy for her to talk about, to explain to clients. Okay, this is the drum roll part. Very excited. I'm announcing, you guys are all getting a sneak peek to NeoCon, what I'm talking about at NeoCon. We have added embodied carbon reporting to the Declare label up there at the top, so you can see that. And we are doing this because the market is really telling us that carbon needs to be included in this discussion. Again, I'm reading things like The Economist. I don't know what happened to me. I went to design school, but here I am. So The Economist noted in their Climate and Business Report in 2020 that companies that embrace low carbon strategies will do the best and heavy polluters will suffer most. And so we agree with that. And so we want to redefine, what does it mean when we say healthy materials? And so that's why we've included embodied carbon in our reporting. All that to say, we do know it's time to go even further than just material transparency. What happens next? And that's what brings me to the Living Product Challenge, which represents at Living Future our theory of change, climate, health, and equity. And it turns it into one easy to read label. We've got 60 active certifications, including our friends at Mohawk, so she's going to talk about that, representing over 5,000 different products and over 10 manufacturers. It looks like this. It looks like a jacked up Declare label, right? It has the same information that you see on a Declare label. You know, where does it come from? Where does it go? What is the chemical information there? The red list compliance, but it also turns the life cycle disclosure information that you would find at an EPD. In the middle there, it makes it visual. Again, designers are visual creatures. I used to get EPDs. I would ask for them. I would know that I should use them. I would open them. They look scary. I don't use them. And then I would not use them. And then I would become full of shame and it would become like this spiral, right? So we have turned it into something that's easy to understand, where you can see the footprint and the handprint of a product very easily. So if footprints are the negative impacts that you have in a manufacturing process or any process, you can only really shrink those to 0, which is great, but it's still a negative that has happened. And so handprinting is our method of quantifying the positive impacts that you can cause along your supply chain or in your community. So you can find them here. This company has reported their embodied carbon there. All the embodied carbon, energy, water, and waste is in gray on the bottom, and they've also hand printed on top of that to become positive. So they are all unique, they're all different. I'm sure Abby's going to talk about them a little bit, so I won't rattle them off here, but what they are is actionable, measurable, and scalable, and so they have to have an actual impact in a community. So that you know as a designer that this is a company that is doing what they say they are doing and it's having an actual impact. Again, Larry Fink is just making my point for me all over the place. And so his letters to CEOs have been increasingly more forthright, shall we say. And so in 2022, this January, he wrote in his letter, every company and every industry will be transformed to the transition to a net zero world. The question is, will you lead or will you be led? And so Living Product Challenge is our answer to how do you lead? How do you lead in this industry? How do you go beyond 0 to become positive? You know me with the food, I love it. There is more when you're, this is my sort of talk to manufacturers here, designers you're going to see behind the curtains. But when a manufacturer gets a Declare label or a Living Product Challenge certification, we will help connect you as a manufacturer to the industry. So we'll connect you to the ToxNot platform. ToxNot helps you talk to your suppliers and get that supplier data, which is, from when I talk to manufacturers, that is one of the biggest stumbling blocks, is finding all that supplier data. And ToxNot will help you cut that time in half. Fabulous. We also connect you to personalized marketing that you can use to talk about Declare with your clients, help you understand what it is with your sales teams. We also connect you to projects. You get points with Living Building Challenge, lead projects and well projects. And we also connect you directly to clients. So designers, if you are on any of these platforms, including Sustainable Minds, the Transparency Catalog, our amazing hosts, you will find Declare and Living Product Challenge on all these sites. So manufacturers, this is a place where you can elevate your brand. We're talking about marketing. You can help market your products using Declare because they're based in transparency. They have that embodied carbon reporting that shareholders and clients are asking for, and they're super customer friendly. And I'm going to hand it off to Mohawk. Our friend Abby, take it away.
Thanks, Ren. What I love about the way you tell stories is you make tough topics fun. So Abby, take it away. You've got some great responses to what Ren has teed up.
All right. Okay, so I know we practiced this, but my keyboard is not moving the slides now.
Okay, give it a shot.
There we go. All right. My name is Abby Dross. I work for Mohawk Industries as a sustainability certification analyst, which means I manage and maintain all of our third-party sustainability certifications. That's really my bread and butter here at Mohawk. I came to Mohawk by way of the Georgia Department of Public Health, where I was a fancy name for a health inspector. And then before that, I got my degrees in public health and environmental health from the University of Georgia. So a little bit about the structure of Mohawk. Mohawk Industries is the umbrella over all of the awesome flooring brands you see on the screen here. I work mainly in Mohawk Group, which is our brand for commercial products, but I get to collaborate with all of these brands that are located around the world. And since we have a global portfolio, that gives us a really great opportunity to scale up our sustainability initiatives and have an impact worldwide. So at Mohawk, we understand that the way our business operates and the way our products perform impacts both the people around us and the planet that we call home. So with that in mind, we have developed 3 sustainability pillars, and that's planet, people, and performance. And those are, all 3 of them are fundamentally interconnected and interdependent. So our sustainability journey at Mohawk started back in 2010 when we released our very first sustainability report that helped us measure our current impacts and then set goals for the future. And then in 2012, we got our first Declare label. We chose Declare because it allowed for complete transparency versus some other programs that at that time would take your list of materials and then give back a certificate. We like that Declare actually showed the consumer everything that was in our product. We have since scaled that up to hundreds, and I think we now have thousands or a few thousand products that are covered by our Declare labels, which is awesome. In 2016, we took our own stab at the Living Building Challenge with our Light Lab located in Dalton. That's where all of our lovely designers work. And then going through that process ourselves really allowed us to see what our customers and architects and designers go through when they're completing building certifications themselves and how they choose the products to meet the standards of those building certifications. After that, in 2017, we got our very first living product certified product with Lichen. If you're familiar with Mohawk, you've probably seen the picture of like the branch with the mossy colored stuff on it with the carpet behind it. That's Lichen. We are very proud of it. And we have since scaled that up to cover all of our carpet tile, which is fantastic. We continued with building certifications with our showroom. So we've got Our New York showroom is WELL certified, and then all of our showrooms are WELL Health and Safety rated. Like I said, we've continued to expand our Living Product Challenge offerings, again, to cover all carpet tile. And then as Ren mentioned briefly earlier, Mohawk Group has also signed the Climate Pledge back in 2021. And then I'll talk about these two a little bit later, but as of January this year, all of our commercial products are going beyond carbon neutral with an additional 5% offset. And we've introduced our very first low embodied carbon flooring solution with EcoFlex One. So Mohawk Group really designs our products with these third-party certifications in mind. So these certifications cover a wide range of testing from VOC emissions, recycled content, transparency, disclosures, and more. And we want to make sure that our customers can use our products to meet the standards of both the product certifications and their own green building projects. So Mohawk Flooring is leading the way in transparency with the most Living Product Challenge certifications, the most Red List free products, and the most Declare labels. Like I said earlier, we now have 1,500 SKUs that are covered by our Declare labels, which is just really exciting for us. And we also had the very first Living Product Challenge Petal certified flooring product. So we were really able to change the way that the flooring industry talked about transparency thanks to our efforts with ILFI. So we want to make sure that all of our transparency certifications are easily accessible for everyone. So in addition to our own commercial sustainability website, you can also find all of our product listings in the transparency catalog. And we work with Sustainable Minds often to make sure that everything is up to date and correct. So here you can see one of our products. This is a resilient product. We've got the Living Product Challenge. I think we have actually dropped that one, but we do still have the Declare label, and we've got the HPD. And then if you have any questions, you can use the awesome new contact form in the transparency catalog. So you can fill out the form and Sustainable Minds will send it to us, or there are options for you to directly contact Mohawk on there as well. And I seem to have lost the ability to move forward again. There we go. So at Mohawk, we believe in handprints over footprints. So like I said earlier, we have expanded our living product portfolio to now include our entire line of commercial carpet tile. And all of these products are net positive in both carbon and water. So how do we get to net positive? There are two steps. The first is to reduce the impact generated during product manufacturing. That's traditionally known as your footprint. You can do this through seeking product innovation, maximizing your manufacturing efficiencies, and evaluating your supply chain to find the most efficient options available. And then after you reduce your footprint as much as you can, you grow your handprint. Your handprint's an offset and make that greater than your footprint. Handprints can be in the form of community engagement, habitat protection, global emissions reductions, or anything else you can think of. Here at Mohawk, we've taken some awesome strides to reduce our own footprint at what we call our living site. And this is our facility in Glasgow, Virginia, which is now the home to all of our LPC certified products. And we have dedicated this facility to the future and the bettering of our planet. Again, all of our certified products are net positive carbon and net positive water. And we will be adding a new member to our LPC family very soon. That's EcoFlex One. So at our living site, we work to reduce our energy and water usage by replacing the old inefficient boiler that heated the production floor in winter with a new combination infrared and direct fired system, along with another smaller high efficiency boiler for the remaining steam needs. And retiring this old system has saved almost 180,000 BTUs of gas, along with an estimated 20 million gallons of water usage each year. Mohawk Group has also successfully reduced the overall carbon emissions from this facility by 48% since 2018. And the carbon reduction from the boiler project reduced the equivalent of the annual CO2 emissions of 1,195 homes in the US. All right, we can move forward, Terry. So out of our commitment to reduce our carbon dioxide emissions, we developed our newest carpet tile backing platform, EcoFlex One. So EcoFlex One achieves a 50% reduction in embodied carbon by innovating in all aspects of the product and manufacturing. EcoFlex One is dematerialized by 19% compared to other traditional attached cushion products. The total concentration of recycled content in EcoFlex One is increased by 26%, and the manufacturing site achieved a 32% energy reduction since 2018. These innovative efforts allow EcoFlex One to achieve the highest level of multi-attribute sustainability certifications in the market. We're looking to achieve Living Product Challenge Petal certification with at least net positive carbon and net positive water. And EcoFlex One has also achieved NSF 140 Platinum, which is the highest level of environmental performance in floor coverings, as a running line product rather than just a special order. All right, go ahead, Terry. We have also introduced Color Pulse, which is a fiber technology that offers the texture benefits of a space-dyed yarn with a low environmental impact and durability of a solution-dyed nylon yarn. Color Pulse does not use any water at all in its dyeing process. Additionally, any purchase of Color Pulse products supports water conservation projects around the world. Okay, Terry. So where we have achieved a net positive water, we have partnered with historically Black colleges and universities in our region to retrofit their dorms with these low flow, high efficiency shower heads. And the reduction in water usage from the dorms offsets the water usage from the manufacturing products or process of our certified products by 105%. And that's how we achieved net positive water. Next slide. Again, we have also achieved net positive carbon, which means we go beyond carbon neutral in manufacturing, and we have done that through habitat protection and forest conservation. Next slide. So we have been so inspired by the standards that ILFI set with the Living Product Challenge that as of January of this year, all of our Mohawk Group products, so that includes carpet tile, broadloom carpet, woven carpet, LVT, and our other resilient surfaces, all of those are going beyond carbon neutral, which means we're going to offset an additional 5% of our carbon emissions beyond neutral. This is our commitment to building a regenerative and climate positive future. So until we can achieve net positive on our own, we will be purchasing credible carbon offsets to mitigate our impacts. And these offsets enable global carbon equity by investing in products that we might not have been able to fund without this. While we don't have all the solutions today, we believe that working together to address carbon from a global perspective can make meaningful changes with each passing day. All right, next slide. So we've learned many lessons along our transparency journey. First, to become more transparent externally, you really have to build relationships internally with your manufacturing facilities. So one of those things is we have made evaluating incoming materials for red list free chemicals basic standard practice with our manufacturers. We've looked for opportunities to cut back on materials, which makes, again, disclosing your information simpler because you have less, but it also helps reduce your carbon footprint because you're putting less into your product. And additionally, if you can increase your manufacturing efficiencies, like we did with our boiler project, that can reduce your footprint even more. For hand printing, community partnerships take a little bit more effort than just buying offsets, but we have found that was one of our greatest successes with the Living Product Challenge. And for our fellow manufacturers, we suggest you walk, jog, and then run. So you can start by disclosing what information you already have. And then when you're looking to new stuff, engage with suppliers and your manufacturing facilities from the beginning to collect all of the information that you need to make sure they'll be forthcoming with the information that they need if they have any proprietary formulas or anything like that. We suggest you listen to the A&D community and industry groups to determine what certifications are relevant for your specific product. And from there, you can expand into the world of multi-attribute certifications. So for example, with Mohawk, we started the Living Product Challenge with one specific collection, the Lichen collection, that was only a few SKUs. And then we scaled it up to all of our SKUs on that one specific carpet tile backing. And then we have now scaled it up to our entire carpet tile portfolio. Okay, next slide. So where we see the industry and the market going is more away from single attribute certifications to more holistic multi-attribute frameworks. So certifications that combine things like recycled content, material health, carbon emissions, and sourcing regional materials all under one roof, so to say, and a focus on balancing all aspects of sustainability, again, instead of just focusing on one single attribute. We're looking beyond the physical four walls of the manufacturing facilities, looking both upstream and downstream to see how the materials and products affect both the health of the manufacturing employees and the end users, as well as the well-being and equity of the communities that the manufacturing facilities are located in. And third, transparency has just become good for business. I mean, it allows customers to make their own informed purchasing decisions, but we have seen that some form of transparency documentation has essentially become a requirement for a lot of the bids that we've been getting. And finally, we're seeing a big push towards life cycle thinking. I mean, embodied carbon is going to be the next big thing. We think it's really going to become a hot button item. And we suggest, if you're looking at embodied carbon, to start engaging and thinking about it in the product development phase, because it's a lot easier to achieve your goals from the beginning rather than trying to retrofit an existing product to meet your embodied carbon goals. All right, next slide. So we chose to and continue to choose to work with ILFI because we think they offer the most holistic and impactful certifications. And we look forward to continuing our relationship with them and expanding our certified product portfolio. Hopefully, eventually looking outside of just Mohawk Group and into Mohawk Industries with maybe like residential carpet, resilient surfaces, and ceramic tiling, stuff like that. So we're excited to see what ILFI has in store for the future and to continue to work with them. All right.
Well, thank you, Abby. That is not the first time I've heard the Mohawk story, and each time I am increasingly blown away by how much effort and care and change that the company has really invested in, and the progress shows. So thank you for sharing that story.
Yeah, thank you for letting me.
Yeah, well, we're thrilled to work with both ILFI and you. And here's a little bit about the Transparency Catalog and the platform that we have created both for manufacturers and for design and building professionals to be able to find every single building product manufacturer making products for the North American market who has invested in one or both types of transparency. So we knew from day one when we launched the transparency catalog with only 350 building product manufacturers in 2016, because there were only 350 who had invested in either EPDs or material ingredient disclosures, that over time, this is going to be the way the market was going to go, that there was going to be no more room for impactful products. And we knew the only way to reward manufacturers for making them, particularly in commercial projects, was to be able to get their products into the spec. And so from day one, the transparency catalog has always been designed as a specification tool. We've been had a very early partnership with the Master Spec folks and Deltek, and that continues. And so the transparency catalog, again, you're going to find every single building product manufacturer in North America investing in one or both types of transparency documentation, and only their products with transparency documentation. So what we've been doing as a mission-based company, trying to transform, do our part to transform the industry. What we've done is created just a super, super simple way to find those brands and their products in as few clicks as possible in every master format division and section, so that ultimately our benefit for the manufacturers is that we're going to help their investments in product transparency pay off. We're making it really easy for their customers to find their brands and products, and then hopefully you'll go ahead and select and specify them and make sure they get into projects and purchased. So our data team is continually adding manufacturers and their brands and their disclosures to the catalog. Just updated this week. There's now over 1,800 manufacturers and over 27 master format divisions and over 1,250 sections, representing tens of thousands of products. And one of the things that we've really worked hard to do is to take the disclosure data that we get from our partners and to make that data work harder through the tools and the UI that we've delivered. So we have an API with Declare and Living Product Challenge. We maintain all the manufacturers with Declare and Living Product Challenge. They're all in the catalog. All their disclosures are there. You're gonna be able to find every single one of them. The same with the HPDC, Cradle to Cradle. With Master Spec, you'll be able to find all the manufacturers with transparency, with access to their Master Spec specifications. And we have been the first technical partner with Building Transparency in the EC3 tool to make their comparative technology simple and understandable in the transparency catalog. So you don't have to run a comparison side by side. You can literally scan and in a glance see which products have lower embodied carbon, in the same way that you'll see with the Declare label. In a glance, you can see every Red List free Declare label right there on the page, and don't have to work to see it. It's right there. This is a new tool that we've built and will be rolling out when HPD version 2.3 gets rolled out. They're adding more screening lists. One is the Perkins & Will precautionary list. You'll be able to filter against that technical list and be able to find products that are Perkins & Will precautionary list free. But the way the catalog was designed is that all of the green building rating systems that provide credits for transparency have identified the disclosures that are eligible to contribute to those credits. So in the catalog, we have a page called our Understanding Product Transparency page, where we list all of the material ingredient disclosure credits offered by all the green building rating systems. And then below that, and I'll show you where this page is in a minute, below that, we list all of the technical programs that have been identified by each of those rating system credits. We list the programs that they have, the scope and the results, and the rating system credit that disclosure is eligible to contribute to. All through the catalog, we've got tooltips to help people understand what the information means. This is the Declare tooltip. It's in this page. You'll see it's all over in the catalog next to a Declare label. You can mouse over the tooltip, understand what the results mean. You can always go to the Declare website and learn more. There's the Living Product Challenge. There's that tooltip. Because it's important that people learn as they do. People don't have time to go and learn on their own. They want to learn while they're doing stuff. And so when you're in the catalog filtering by any combination of filters, whether it's master format, division and section, rating system, credit, and by the way, we use that product transparency credits page. We keep the credit information up to date. That's how our filters are built, so that you can be sure that the results that you get when you filter on a rating system credit are products that actually contribute to that credit. And even at this distance, it's really small, you can still see that Armstrong Ceiling and Wall Solutions has a lot of red list free Declare labels and a number of low embodied carbon materials as determined by the EC3 tool. And you can continue to filter and search and drill in to find products that are going to meet your project requirements. The last thing I'm going to tell you about, because we're up against our time, is, again, because we're a mission-based company and we're trying to drive the whole market to change, this analytics dashboard gives all the manufacturers in the catalog a view not only of the frequency that their brand is showing up in search results, the number of page views, the number of clicks and downloads. They get access to not only their own analytics, but to all the analytics for every other brand, so that people can see, wow, that brand is investing in EPDs and Declare labels, and look at how much visibility they're getting. We should do that too. And we thought long and hard about, should we share all that with everybody? Is anybody going to care? It turns out, the manufacturer in the catalog said, hey, we're happy to have access to how well other folks are doing. They can see ours, we can see theirs. And every year, manufacturers, people in those companies have to make decisions about, are we going to spend more on transparency this year? Yes or no? Let's see what's happening in the marketplace. And this is content that they have access to help inform and drive those decisions. And it turns out, without fail, the manufacturers who have added their products to the catalog, not just the disclosures that we add, get viewed, selected, clicked on, downloaded 5 to 50 times more than the manufacturers who have not added their products, but have their disclosures there, because people don't specify disclosures, they specify products with disclosures. So as we wrap things up, I invite you all to use the Transparency Catalog. It's free to use, there's no login. You can go here to visit this Product Transparency Credits page, where you'll be able to see all of the different rating systems and credit contributions, so you understand how to use the catalog. It's really simple to use. You can browse by brand and go directly to a manufacturer's listing, or you can choose a master format division or section. Just a division, also you could choose a section. You could also put in a brand name and just see a particular brand's products in that division and section, depending upon the use case. or the task that you're working to complete at any given time. And it'll bring you to the results. And again, you can filter on any combination of master format sections, rating system, credits, even disclosure types. So we're at the top of our time. I'm going to thank you, Ren and Abby, for telling your stories, and really exciting stuff, both of you. Again, any questions we didn't get to on the call today, we'll definitely follow up, get those answered, and we invite you to leave your thoughts on the way out. Have a great rest of the day, and hopefully we'll see some of you at NeoCon and at AIA. So thanks again, Abby and Ren. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.